Deb, it's so good to talk with you. You've been running around like crazy.
Yes, it has been a crazy week.
When I was a deputy prosecutor here in Spokane County, we had to clear 200 cases a month in district court just to stay level with the incoming caseload.
Right.
And you could only do 4 bench trials and 4 jury trials. So that meant 192 cases had to go away, something other than a trial.
One of the ways of handling that is to make better use of our therapeutic courts, of the Veterans Court, the drug court, mental health court. Because when you make use of those courts, you're not using the trial resources, and you're setting up a program to help people get their lives back together and make it less likely that they're going to end up back in court. Therapeutic courts help with the caseload problem, but they also help with the revolving door issue. Because if you just start charging everybody with everything and, locking them up for however much time you can get and then turning them loose again to the same situation, the same community, the same issues, they're just going to be back again. Whereas if they go through a program like therapeutic courts, then we help them change their lives, and the programs help them eliminate some of the pressures that result in the criminal behavior in the first place. Our Veterans Court has the best record in the country for reducing recidivism. And so we have really good programs that can take care of a lot of that caseload. So another issue is around pretrial release. So I was struck in February, I believe it was, when there was an article in the Spokesman, because a part of the MacArthur grant, which is a grant that Spokane has gotten for several years now from the MacArthur Foundation to increase justice, but in specifically to reduce the discrepancy around how people of different racial and ethnic backgrounds embrace the system or get treated by the system, and to reduce the jail population. Those were the 2 primary goals of the MacArthur grant. And in particular, there was a $400,000 grant for supported pretrial release that would have helped people start programs and would have been closely monitored before they even went to trial, rather than just sitting in jail. They're not sitting in jail losing their job and maybe their housing, and they're already starting to work a program that will help them deal with whatever the issues are that are leading them into the criminal behavior.
What sorts of programs would those be? Can you give a few examples?
More closely monitored drug or alcohol treatment, mental health treatment. So one of the problems with the mental health system, since we deinstitutionalized back under Ronald Reagan, is we have very few tools to use for mental health problems. For many people with mental health issues, they'll get on whatever meds can help them, and then they do better and they feel better and they start functioning better, so they go, I'm cured, I don't need my meds, and they go off their meds, and then they decompensate, in some cases pretty quickly. And we can at the most do a 72-hour hold for a mental health issue, and then they either have to agree to treatment or we have to let them go home. And 72-hour holds are sort of a bare minimum for helping somebody get stabilized. They don't address the underlying issues. So if we have someone who's committed a crime, or at least we have probable cause to believe they've committed a crime, if they're willing to go through the mental health court, then we can have like a 2-year program. That they can work that program, and we can have the consequence if they refuse to work that program would be then we can go ahead and file the charges. So that gives us more ability to keep people participating in the program long enough to see some real change.
Fantastic. It sounds like smart justice should be the option that you'd want to go.
I've never understood why anyone doesn't adopt the smart justice approach. Those who are engaged in smart justice and promoting it, there are practices and approaches that have been proven effective, that we know work, and that save money in the process. And why would you not adopt them? One of the questions that comes up, and it's come up in some questions to me, but it comes up in the county often, is what about a new jail? It is possible that we need a new jail, because that jail is old. There are issues, and I've heard horror stories about some of the problems with the building. But we should not even be talking about a new jail until we know how to right size the jail. What size jail do we need?
We don't necessarily need more jail.
Right. So until we have implemented these proven ways to reduce the jail population and to see how that sorts out and to look at what it looks like to have a different system, someone in the office who embraces electronic home monitoring, supervised pretrial release, therapeutic courts, until we've practiced that and seen what the numbers are, we have no idea what size jail we need. I would bring fiscal responsibility to the office in a way that I don't think we have at the moment.
I've read some articles where Larry Haskell has said that he doesn't believe that there's racial disparity, or that he thinks it needs to be proved that there's a racial disparity in how people are treated in the criminal justice system in Spokane County.
The Burns Institute did a report that looked very specifically at racial disparities in Spokane County, and it found that there were significant racial disparities in terms of stops, arrests, charges, and sentencing. What was surprising to me, but shouldn't have been, is the ethnic group that was most overrepresented in being charged and convicted were Indigenous people. On the one side, the theory is that they just commit more crimes. And my response to that is, I don't think that's true. And if it were true, then the solution is to ask why. But I'm not sure that the reasons for it are really that much different than the fact that the Pacific Islander population and the Black population both have higher rates of engagement with the criminal system than white people. I don't understand how anyone can say there aren't racial disparities. Every study that's looked at it says there are.
Therapeutic courts addressing the root causes of criminal behavior isn't some sort of extra gift that would be given to minority populations in Spokane. It's something that everybody in the system would benefit from.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things we don't talk about is the ways in which socioeconomic standing affects who ends up in the criminal system.
Because we're supposedly a classless society.
That's a myth.
Yes.
And it's something we don't like to talk about. So here's an example. This isn't Spokane County. This is actually when I was a prosecutor in Clallam County, but it would be the same today. I had a case where for 20-something very well-off young men, they got angry at this one guy. They started shooting up the house in which there was a mother with a 2-month-old baby and 3 other young children. And so I charged them. And when we got ready to go to trial, we made the decision to use the sheriff's facilities to give them all showers and put clothes from one of the thrift centers on them so that when they came into court, they would be credible as witnesses. And I had any number of people tell me I was wasting the county's resources charging that case because the victims were just white trash.
Ouch. Equal justice under the law is the standard that we should all be aiming for.
But I think the predominant view is if they tried harder, if they had worked harder in school, if they made better choices, they wouldn't be poor.
Deb Conklin, thank you so much. Somebody who's been pursuing justice your entire life. I hope that we'll have a chance to have you do that on behalf of everybody in Spokane County.
Thank you.
Thank you.